I think we're good. All right, let's see. We're back with another episode, but first, the sponsors. Head over to www.johnbartoloshow.com. Go check out a complete list of the sponsors there. I want to thank a few of them now if I can. Gallo Technologies for the walls behind us. Rhino Metals for all the tables. Blackwater Ammunition, Enforce Weapon Lights, Pulsar, thermal imaging technologies coming down in price. Go check out Pulsar. I want to give a special thanks to Volquartz Firearms. Advanced Warrior Solutions. If you haven't bought a bag yet, you're going shooting, you want to store your firearms for that travel to the range, go check out Advanced Warrior Solutions. I appreciate them. I appreciate all the sponsors. Go check out Right On Optics. Go check out Kenzie's. Appreciate all of them. There's a complete list down below. Appreciate everybody on the website that supports the show. Those of you that support the show, please leave reviews. I do a terrible job asking for them. I need them. Without your support, the show would not be possible. I got a special guest today who came by popular demand. We actually had an awesome conversation for the last hour, and we've chatted a little bit before the show, so I'm excited about this. I think it could be a lot of fun. I'm going to get into some interesting topics you guys will all like. Let me try to get this right. He's a UFC veteran. He's a coach. He's all the things. And he's a smart guy. We got the one and only Eliot Marshall.
I'm smart, huh?
Oh, you're everything.
Oh, man, that was amazing. Thank you.
You're everything.
I appreciate you. Popular demand, Casey Halstead. We got to shout him out real fast. I think that was the popular.
Oh, I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, listen, I want to get into this a little bit with you.
Yes.
You have an interesting journey.
I do.
What is it about coaching? Like, why, when you transitioned out of fighting, was it instantly to get into coaching? I know there's obvious answers, but you're successful at it. I want to get what drove you to be a coach.
I had amazing people in my life that shifted it. There's a weird thing with life, I would say, right? Like, for the first 8 to 10 years, your parents are all you need, right? Like, your parents take care of you. They provide everything for you. They protect you. They protect you from the world, and they give you the world. But then something happens to every human, right? Between 8 and, let's say, 12. And they need other people. Their parents can't do it for them. They need other people that are going to steer their life and really influence them. And for me, because of my upbringing and background, it wasn't peers. Peers didn't do it for me. It was coaches and teachers in my life that did. And so what better way to pay that back than to just try to give it back?
It's interesting because coaching is something that people easily go to, but they're not easily successful at. What is it about the mindset that you need to change from when you're in the ring to coaching to be successful?
It's so hard, right? Like, everyone told me when I started as well getting into podcasting.
You're crazy. No.
You're crazy. Well, I'm so used to being interviewed as the athlete. It's about you. You talk about you when you're the athlete. It's the same thing when you go from athlete to coach. It's no longer about you. Like, it has to all be focused on the athlete. So the idea of the famous coach, or, you know, all of these things that we can see, it just, I think it gets in the way of real coaching.
Like the Rocky Mickey story or something.
Yeah, Mickey's just some dude who owns some small piece of shit gym in Philadelphia, right? That's all it was.
Awesome.
It was a hole in the wall piece of shit gym. He wasn't trying to be coach of the year. Right now you guys got, you know, in MMA anyway, you have people trying to be coach of the year. I would say somebody like Eric Nixick, who won it, is not trying. He's just doing good for his athletes.
Yeah, and I think you're right about that. I think there is kind of, because of social media, there's that rise of the celebrity insert whatever after celebrity coach, celebrity this, celebrity that. And I think you're right. I think it has to be about furthering the athlete. Now, you've been on all sides of the cage and you've seen it all different ways. You talked about telling me the story about how jiu-jitsu started for you.
Yeah.
What got you into martial arts to begin with that led you to that point?
So I'm about to be 41 years old in a couple weeks. Yeah. So so that means I grew up in the Karate Kid era, not the Bruce Lee era. So I saw The Karate Kid when I was 6 years old.
Cream.
I kicked the lamp. My mom and dad said, to karate, you go.
That's awesome.
So there it was. Karate, I went.
Did you break the lamp?
I'm 6. That was 36 years ago, bro. I don't fucking know.
Did you break
I don't know.
Now,
I'm assuming.
like everybody else, you're influenced by the movies, right?
Yep.
I mean, who isn't, right? My favorite action hero of all time is John McClane. I'm a big Die Hard guy, so
Best Christmas movie of all
Yeah,
time.
still.
I wanted to tell you when I came out of the bathroom over there.
respect.
Yes.
Respect.
My kids my kids understand that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
In the bathroom, just so everybody knows, we have a. It's hard to explain. If you're in the studio, it makes sense to you. We legitimately have a movie theater sized poster of Die Hard in there. It's legit. And for every guy, when you pee, you stare right at the Nakatomi Tower. There's no better. So you get into martial arts and you start training. Mm-hmm. At what point do you come home after the lamp's broken and say, "We're gonna break it in our mind, but it's broken. The lamp's broken," and you say, "Ma, Dad, whoever, sister, aunt, I want to be a fighter."
Okay.
And I want to be At what point do they look at you and say you're crazy? Because that's a ways back. It still wasn't established.
So we're going to go deep into this.
Let's go deep.
Let's go deep into this. I have a black dad and a white Jewish mother whose parents survived the Holocaust.
An awesome combo.
Yes. So for my entire life, I was told that I wasn't safe. And then it also came true in my life. So, like I said, when I was 8 years old, we moved to this new town. And one day, as we're building our house, we pull up to it, and there's swastikas all over it. You know, painted,
That's
spray painted.
crazy.
There is Nigers go home. They spelled the word wrong.
Wow.
You know, the next time they figured out that they forgot the G. So this was my life. And so because you have to rewind 40 years, bro. There weren't many black dudes married to white Jewish ladies.
No.
Okay, so to say that I was an other was
Where was this?
This is South Jersey.
Okay.
In a small little town where the kid who's ended up being the high school quarterback, he was going to be the high school quarterback because his granddaddy was, his dad was, his big brother was, and we moved to this town, right? And my sister and I were the only others. Right, in every sense of the word. So I'd be allowed to go play outside with kids, but I was not allowed to go in those kids' house because of what I was and who my parents were.
That's bananas.
Yeah, it's what it was. You know, so this was my experience. All of the good times that you think about in high school, right? Walking through the halls with your friends. Yeah, nope, not for me. I walked by myself. Lunch tables by myself, right? Like I just did not fit in, like in no sense or way. I was not accepted. And I'm not just talking about white people. I'm talking about anybody, right? Like I didn't fit in with the black kids either because I wasn't, I just wasn't anything. So there was my experience, except for martial arts. I fit in martial arts, right? Because martial arts, normally at most martial arts schools, the criteria is the door. You walk in the door, you get accepted. You keep walking in the door, you keep getting accepted, right? You get accepted even more. So I just kept walking in the door. I just never stopped. I just kept entering. So I got good at karate. And at like 17 years old, the national tournament, right? Like the biggest tournament of the year came to my town or, around my town in South Jersey. And my buddy, who was older than me, he was, 31. He ended up doing the Masters division, right? The old man. And you got to remember at this time, it's point sparring in karate. And so you hit each other. You spar each other because you don't hit each other, right? There's no, you're not trying to knock each other out. You're just like, oh, touch, point. So he does the old man division. And I'm like, you pussy. Why are you doing the old man division? Come on, let's go. Come down to the young man. Come down to the men's division. And he's like, you think I'm scared? I'm like, yeah, you're scared. And we're just like talking shit, having fun. And he lives around the corner from me. He's like, yeah, come to my house Friday night. And I was like, oh, sweet, cool. In 1997 now. Okay. So I go to his house. I have no clue that he's doing jiu-jitsu or even what jiu-jitsu is. And he mops the fucking floor with me.
It's the best.
Right? Just like, I'm like, what is this?
And you left with all kinds of questions.
I'm like, yo, I just got to learn. I got to learn.
Your brain imploded.
Right? And so now I'm like, where am I going to learn? Again, 1997. I live in the sticks of South Jersey. The closest school is like an hour and a half away, so that's not happening. And I know what all of you young kids are saying now, Uber. There was no Uber in 1997. There was no transit, right? Like you were stuck in your town, right? Right, John, right? You're stuck in your town. You can't go anywhere.
Dude, it was the train, the bus, and
but I couldn't get to any of them because it's the sticks. So
feet.
Yeah,
the 10 speed.
Yeah. So
I know what you mean.
Yeah, 10 speed.
The
they don't even make them anymore.
Make them. Everybody, if you had a 10 speed, you had a car in your mind.
Yeah, that was Uber.
Yeah, that was Uber.
So
I wonder if Uber has killed bike sales. That's actually a deeper question, but keep going. I don't want to.
Not in Colorado because the bikes are amazing.
Yeah.
So anyway, my friend teaches me a little bit. Right, he starts to teach me jiu-jitsu over the summer. I go back to school. I lose a little weight over that summer too. Right, I was kind of a late bloomer. I've never kissed a girl yet. So that's another story.
Never been laid.
Yeah, never. Not at 17. I hadn't been laid yet. So, I go in, first day of school, blah, 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 yada, yada, a couple days in. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I learned this jiu-jitsu stuff. It's like wrestling and, blah, 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 and some of the wrestlers, and I came from a very good wrestling high school. They were like, yeah, we'll fuck you up. And I was like, okay, let's see. And I sucked still. But I choked them out. And now all of a sudden, Elliot beat somebody up. Right? Like Elliot choked out the popular kids.
The whole wrestling team.
Oh yeah, and so I start to gain a little popularity. A girl kisses me.
But you're a big guy. Usually the big guys are a little popular. Usually.
Not this big guy.
Towards the end though, I would think there would have been.
So hold on. This is where my life starts to change. This is where I start to have some friends. Like I said, a girl kissed me. Like this is where I'm like, whoa. It's a huge come up. But I associate it with fighting. Associated with beating somebody up. So right there, I just go, okay, I'm going to fight in the UFC.
Oh, wow.
Because that's what will give me some safety, security, some freedom, all these things that just a human being wants in their life that I never really felt
bold.
Before.
And
right?
So you take it home.
Yeah, I didn't tell my parents yet.
Oh, wow.
When did I tell my parents? I don't know.
It had to be around college, right?
College, yeah. It was like college and...
By then the cat's out of the bag.
I go to Boulder. I leave Colorado. I leave New Jersey. I go to Boulder, Colorado, and my life changed. My life gets amazing. I get a girlfriend. I get laid for the first time. All of that stuff. I find a jiu-jitsu school. Actually, Amal, my teacher. I met him in a mall. He was teaching out of a karate school. I did it for like a month, but I was too into my girl, and I ran out of money. And then I heard a year later my girl broke up with me, so I'm sad.
Into my girl and out of money sounds about right. That's the combination right there.
That's normally how it goes, right? So I hear he opened up a school. My girl broke up with me. I go down and I'm like, yo, I still have no money, but I would love to clean. And he goes, yeah, my cleaner just quit 2 hours ago. So there it was, man.
That's the deal. That's the ultimate deal to make in a gym.
So now I own. I'm 50% owner.
Well, don't go. Don't jump that far ahead. Yet.
Oh, my bad.
No, we know you own multiple gyms. You got a big cock. We know.
No, I was just letting everyone know that it's actually not. You can go from cleaner to owner. It's possible. Get out there and do it.
I don't want to miss the point to where you sit down with your family and you say, I'm going to be a professional fighter, and they look at you and think you're crazy. Or were they fully supportive from the jump? Oh. Tell me how that went. I need to know.
No, they look at me and they say I'm crazy.
Yeah, because this was a way, people need to understand, you're doing the right thing by setting up the mindset. This was all new. UFC wasn't what it is today.
Right.
You were coming in when it was still, people thought you were wrestling crocodiles. You know?
It was cage fighting. It was gladiator shit.
It was the bartender down the street. Like, during your time period, it really elevated, but it was still very young. It was still very early.
And you have to understand as well, so, my grandfather's still alive, and he's a concentration camp survivor. So
it's amazing.
You have to, their mindset, like, there are so many Jewish doctors and lawyers right now, and things like, that's the professions you go into, because it's fucking safe, right? It's safe. That's what people will need, your skill set. So I was always raised that you need to have a skill that you need to have something that somebody will need.
A professional
skill that somebody will need.
I can relate. I know what you mean.
Right? When they need you, they'll pay you, and they'll be okay with you. So, and it's, again, it all comes back to my family with safety and security. Because again, you have, right, Holocaust survivors, and if you rewind my dad's life, civil rights, right? He grew up when you couldn't use
be in the same restaurants,
in the same restaurants, right? Like that was his life. That is his experience. My dad never went trick-or-treating in his life because it wasn't safe.
It's wild.
Right.
That's absolutely wild. I mean, so they think you're crazy, and you grow up in that traditional, Jewish household.
Yeah.
I have to ask you, did you look up to Jewish athletes growing up?
I don't even know who any. So we weren't very traditional in the sense that I've never been to synagogue. I've never, I said the bar mitzvah prayer for my grandparents, but I never, we're not religious. We're not religious in any way because my dad's not Jewish.
Okay.
So I did not grow up in that traditional sense. We celebrated the higher holidays, like the important ones, not Hanukkah.
Because I was trying to think, I can name a lot of exceptional Jewish athletes that were in other sports. I can't name a lot in UFC.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I don't know either.
No, I don't know. I don't know the other sports either, though, because I'm not.
So in baseball, you have like Sandy Koufax,
right? Was
like one of the all-time, and he might be one of the best in a 5 or 6 year stretch. Probably the best pitcher that ever walked the planet in a 5 or 6 year stretch, up there for sure. I know that. In boxing, you have Max Baer.
Yep.
Who was a heavyweight champion. I believe he's the one that lost to James Braddock, if I remember correctly. I believe that's the Cinderella Man story. But he was an exceptional champion. In football, wow, this is really testing my sports IQ, and I love fucking sports trivia. The best Jewish football player. Who's the best Jewish football player? Oh, that's going to be a hard one. If anyone out there knows, chime in. Maybe I can get the producer on it. The best Jewish football player. That's $1 million question. I'm trying to. I can't remember. Baseball, I know Sandy Koufax. I know Kevin Youkilis was Jewish too. I'm trying to think.
It wasn't a thing for me though.
Gabe Kapler was.
Yeah, I wasn't looking at other Jewish athletes. That's not something that I was doing. But it wasn't. It was like, what are you, crazy? Like that was the idea in my. What are you, crazy?
Well, I'm trying to think what would be a good beacon of hope to point to, right? If it came to that.
No, there was no. Because I was going to college too, though.
Right.
So I was getting a degree. I was doing the stuff that you were supposed to be doing. So
the structure.
Yeah, and that's what they wanted. But no. What are you doing, Elliot? Why are you wasting your time? Why are you doing this? Be
a dentist.
And I was the president. I was the first president of the math club at the University of Colorado Boulder, because that's and then, but I didn't really care. I didn't really care at all. I fell in love with jiu-jitsu, and I just did it. I can remember the first time that I won the Pan American Games. My mom says to me, "Elliot, you got a 1.7 this semester." And I was like, yes, I did.
Are you even breathing in class?
I was like, yes, I did, Mom. And she was like, Elliot. I'm like, Mom, can I ask you a question? I was like, how many people do you know that have like a 3.0 or higher GPA in college? She's like, a lot. Why? I was like, how many people know do you have this gold medal that says Pan American Champion? I was like, you don't know anybody else. I'm the only one. And she's like, don't care.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So she tells you that. Now, do you feel like I need to recalibrate my goals? Or?
Nope. Why? I love martial arts. It's my passion.
So you're at this stage where you're unapologetically in. You start fighting where?
So
where does it start? Where's the first, do you sneak it? Do you have to sneak it?
No. So I'm doing jiu-jitsu, and I'm winning all the jiu-jitsu stuff, and I'm working at a bar, right? I've graduated from college now. I graduated. I got it. I got that piece of paper. So I graduated from college.
It's worth a lot now.
Yeah, it's worth a fucking ton. Look, I don't want to shit on it. If you are poor, and education is the key, you have to become very highly educated in something. If you are poor, you have no money, you need education. You do. If you are not poor, it's not as important.
My take on college, so we're clear in this conversation, is simple, and I have to. Casey knows this because I've had conversations with Derek about this. Casey's Derek, his prodigy.
Okay.
And I've had conversations with for some reason people think like I know how to talk to kids about school. I don't know why people think that. I've had a few conversations with people. I think everybody should go. I think I think if you have a kid that even hates it, says to you, Dad, I'm calling you Dad, I don't want to go at all. As a father or a mentor, I would say go for a semester just to be able to say you went, because that's powerful enough, I believe, today. But I believe the experience of going and doing your own laundry, doing your own dishes, picking up your own plates, tossing the trash out, I think the only way to learn that is, to me, if I'm a dad, that $5-10 grand that I'll spend for them to learn that is invaluable.
My kids are leaving let me be clear, my kids are leaving my house after the summer after their senior year of high school. They're out.
Gone.
They're out. Now, look, if it's college, then great. It can be college. That's cool. If it's not college, it's got to be. You have to be chasing a worthy cause.
That's fair,
right?
I'll buy that.
I want a worthy cause, so I don't care what that is. But there has to be a chase. We have to be fucking chasing something. We're not just going to go fuck around. Now, I won't call, experiencing Europe for a year on your own, on your dime. I'll get you there. I'll get you there. I will call that a worthy cause. But that's what I'm saying. Poor kids can't do that, man.
Right. Yeah, I think there are worthy ventures out there. I think there are things that make sense. And I think that the act of going and just taking a few weeks you might come back
what
after.
If college isn't for you? What if
No, 100%. Yeah. It may not be. 100%.
Look, what I'm saying is, what if you're a C student? You're a C student all the way. You're a blue collar type person. College isn't for you.
What I would say to my child, my unborn child, I would say, go. Just learn to get in the car and have a destination you have to go to.
Yeah, but why not a trade school?
No, that's fine too. Okay. Whatever, like you, I'm very mission orientated, like you are. I agree with that mindset. But I think kids who just say, "No, I'm not going to do anything." My thing comes back to what you said, which is, okay, don't do anything. But the summer after you're 18, you're gone.
You're out.
But if you do this, I'm going to give you a little room,
right?
Because you're trying and you're learning, and if you tell me, Dad, I hate school. I don't want to go. I don't want to go to trade school. I don't even want to learn how to be a plumber or anything.
Right.
I'm going to say, fine, that's great. But I need you to learn how to do your own laundry. I need you to learn how to write a check to pay your rent. I need you to learn how to get out of bed because you have to be somewhere. And if you prove to me during the journey that you did those things, but you failed at it, I'm okay with that. But you tried it and you understand what it means to get up and do the dishes. They're going to look at mom differently. They're going to look at dad differently, and they're going to have a little bit better respect for the process.
I know we're way off topic here, but I believe all that shit starts way earlier. My kids get up now. Ooh. They do the laundry. They do the dishes. I have a 7 and 11-year-old, and that kid started when my youngest was 3 years old.
So you're lucky.
No, I'm not lucky. No,
go ahead.
I'm not lucky. How many dishes do you think got broken? All of them. Right? I have to. It'd be easier for me to do the dishes.
All of them.
Right? It's easier for me to do the dishes than to. No, Simon, that goes there. We went over this yesterday.
Right.
Right? Like, it's easier for me to do it. But now I don't have to do that. Right? Now I don't have to do that. Will you do everyone's complaining in America right now about, like, the kids, the millennials. Man, it's not their fault. We are the ones who raised them.
I agree with you with that.
We're the ones who raised them.
I think college, like I said, the laundry might be metaphorical, but I think you learn
that's what you're saying.
Something, and we're on the same page. And I don't want to get off topic, but I think the college thing is important to address, that we both agree you don't need it. No. But can you learn something from it? Yes.
Of course.
Yes. Going out now today, like, I don't necessarily agree with the Charlie Kirk mentality, which is like, you don't need to go to school at all.
No.
Or how sometimes, guys like Gary V. Gary V will be like, hey, you're 12 and your mother's against you starting a business, leave the house. Like, I don't necessarily agree with.
I don't think he's like that. I think he's like, you're 12, start a business.
Yeah, I think it's convenient for him to take some of the takes he takes on things, but I don't want to get revisionist history on Gary V. Gary V started out with $1 million business that his dad ran. So people kind of forget that Gary V's dad was very good in the wine business. He had a wine company, And he has the ability to take these radicalized takes on things because of the position he's in now. And I've seen some of his candid conversations, and I don't know what's shock value versus real value. You know, some things just aren't certain realities for people. Like, you know, you've seen the clips. Sometimes someone will be like, you know, I take care of my grandmother and I can't, and he'll be like, oh, you just got to hire someone to take care of her and you got to focus on your business. He gets a little radicalized with some takes on some things. And
for sure.
I think you have to just keep it about the simple basics. Like, you got a degree, Gary got a degree, I got a degree. I'm not going to sit here and be a guy who says after the degree is completely worthless. There's a place for like I tell people all the time, one thing I learned from school is how to interact with people and all different kinds of people. And you're going to get that at a major college, at a Boulder, at a UMass where I went, where you're going to sit in a room with 100 people and you're going to learn about a lot of different people.
College gives you a break from adulthood.
Right.
There's a gap because you're really not ready, right? At 18 years old, you're not ready to, most of us are not ready to go out and have to be really ultra responsible.
Now, you get in the cage, you start,
okay,
you're fighting. When does
I got in the cage because my wife said one night, I was taking a shower. She was like, hey, this working at a job at the bar, that's really cool. And this jujitsu stuff's really cool and all. But like, let's fight. And I've always said I was going to fight. And she goes, it's cool and all, but let's fight or let's get a job.
Right.
And I was like, well, fuck a job.
So you end up, when does it start coming together and the UFC comes into the mix?
I got on the Ultimate Fighter.
Okay.
Got on the Ultimate Fighter.
So at that point, are you like, I made it?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. But which is the wrong mentality.
Right. But
yeah.
Like, I always ask every guest, when was the moment when you felt like, okay, I can make a living doing this?
Yeah, right there.
Right there.
Well, right there. I quit the job at the bar.
Yeah.
You know, so now it's all fighting.
And that's a big leap mentally.
It's not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed. So you take that giant leap. Mm-hmm. You're making next to no money.
No, it's no money.
It's no money. You're making no money. At what point during your fighting career do you have that moment where you're like, I have to parlay this and monetize this into a business?
So I had always been teaching jiu-jitsu because I love teaching and I love jiu-jitsu and I love my jiu-jitsu, my professor, you know? So I've always been doing that my whole career. Like when fight camp came, I would stop teaching the last like 4 weeks or whatever. But yeah, the whole time I was always teaching, and kids, adults, didn't matter. So then after that, you know, I was cut from the UFC once. I fought my way back. And then after my last fight, I knew it was over. You know, and it was right when this PFL thing started coming. It was World Series, actually. Sorry. Actually, when you were hearing about World Series with Ray Sefo, that there was this $1 million tournament. They were going to do it for the light heavyweights first, because the light heavyweight at the time was a massive weight class. So I like trained still. Like I was preparing for that tournament. But I was also, so I fought Brandon Vera on, I want to say, what was it, the 27th or the 29th of 2011, October. And on that Tuesday, the 31st, I looked at the building to purchase the building that the Denver school is now currently in.
That's amazing.
So 3 days after.
It's quite a journey.
And now we just...
And you just were able to just... this is what I got to explore. You were able to turn off the fighter in you and turn on the businessman.
No.
No?
No.
Go into that.
It goes back to why I was fighting. I was fighting for safety and security. So fighting was a lot of pressure for me, right? Because it wasn't just about winning or losing fights. It was about like, will John Bartolo love me? Will he be okay with me? Because this is the only way I ever was able to make anyone be okay with me. Acceptance, as I got good at fighting. So fighting for me was this massive thing, right? It wasn't just fighting. It wasn't just the paycheck. It was, who is Elliot? This, right? It was the entire identity. So, no, I was not able to shut it off. I would scream it to the world even more, right? Hiding all of these insecurities. And I, at this time, some anxiety was starting to creep up towards the end of my fight career. All of these things that were some mental health issues, right? All of these things that were little signs of, yo, you better deal with me. This demon that's deep inside of me, this devil.
Was it self-destructive?
No, I was never self-destructive in the sense of like drugs or alcohol or anything like that. It was worry. It was worry that it was. That's the
like an anxiousness inside you.
Anxiety, massive, and I'd have bouts where a couple days of it, and then it would go away.
People don't really understand anxiety. They don't, and we all go through it, and we all go through it in here, and we all talk about it. I feel like anxiety is like the unspoken mental health issue that people don't get into.
We get into depression way more.
Depression.
Right. Anxiety manifests, they're cousins, right? They're cousins. Anxiety is about what's coming, right? And you can see when you rewind the tape of my life, you can see where that comes from. My dad still tells me to this day, like a couple weeks ago when we were coming out for a fight here, you're quarantined the whole time, right? You're locked in the fucking Residence Inn right down the street. I think it's like over there or something.
Yeah, it's awful.
Right? It's awful. My dad says, Elliot, be careful. And I'm like, Dad, what the fuck do I have to be careful if I'm locked away? Like there's no danger, right? Like zero. But in my grandparents' house, I was, it's 1995. There's food from the 70s that they were hoarding because Hitler's coming again. Right, you have to understand, like this was how I was raised.
Oh yeah, but believe me, I get it. I had a guy in here who was former Israeli military, and he has a gun company here now, and in the United States now, and he was really interesting on his podcast. He said, he goes, one thing people don't understand is we're never going back in the ovens.
No,
we're never going back. So the mind, you tend to underestimate the Jewish people sometimes. But they'll never go. And believe me, I've seen it in my friends in the black community and folks that have been through some adversity in their life and had to deal with that, whether it's a race issue or other things. And they say, and that's the right mindset. That's the right mindset. And that's what moves a society forward. That's hey, we're not going to do that again. We learned our lesson.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that. And I think that is so remarkable. And what you just did there, explaining your situation and talking about anxiety. I wish more fighters.
It gets worse.
Yeah,
I have a full on breakdown.
Okay,
I have a full on, fast forward 3 years after opening
like an episode.
Schools, like a 9-month episode.
Okay, like
a 9-month episode of calling my friends every night, and they stay up on the phone with me while I have panic attacks through the night. Sometimes the talking to them puts me to sleep.
Right.
Every night for a month. And when I say an episode, have you taken a sleeping pill before?
Yeah.
Puts you the fuck out, right? I'm assuming you've taken Xanax before. Puts you out, right? Like you go somewhere else. I could take 2 prescription sleeping pills and 1 milligram of Xanax and I could stay awake.
Wow.
Those are the kind of episodes we're talking about.
Wow.
We're not talking about like, oh, I'm a little scared right now. We're talking about losing your goddamn mind episodes. It was 9 months of it. 9 months of like, oh my God.
So how did you reboot and get focused on business? What was the trigger?
I had amazing friends. I had a tribe.
Support.
First, the doctor. One of my best friends is a doctor, and he, the worst night was on a Friday night. It was 5 nights of no sleep.
Wow.
So I was really not doing okay on that 5th day. I call him at 4:00 on a Friday, and this is where, what I like to say, the luck of my life is really shining. I call him and he starts taking care of me. There's not many people that can call their doctor on a Friday at 4. Normally that's a call on Monday and you'll see your doctor in 3 weeks, right? That's how it works. Well, that's not my life. So super lucky there. And we start going down the path of taking care of me immediately. I get into therapy. I had the financial means to
talk that shit out.
Talk it out multiple times a week. Therapy is not cheap.
No.
So there it was. I had this, and I had I have an amazing tribe of people that would do anything for me.
It's it's important that, the most overused term is circle, right? It's like one of the most abused terms. You have to respect your circle, respect the people that you put in it. They have to respect you. And there's a virtual handshake or a mutual handshake. We always joke in jiu-jitsu that when we tap hands, the other guy's agreeing to hold the weight, right? So when you're in a tribe and in a circle of friends, of friendship, we have our highs and lows. And when you're high, it's great to celebrate the high with everybody else. It almost lifts you out of a medium low, right, if you will. And I've had therapists explain it to me. When you go into depression or very anxious states, you go into a hole. And you decide how deep that hole is going to be. And sometimes you can claw your way to where your hand's kind of almost out of the hole. And what friends and what a circle does for you is they help pull you out of that hole a little bit. They can.
Go ahead. I just look at it differently. I didn't
go ahead.
My finger at you. They raise the bottom. They give you a platform to stand on so that you can pull yourself out of the hole. Because nobody can pull you out of the hole.
No, I like that.
You have to pull yourself out of the hole. But what they do is they build, if this is the bottom,
they put a rock there or whatever.
They put something there for you to stand on that you can now grasp enough and you can pull the rest of it.
And to everybody else, it can be as simple as, hey man, this weekend, I'm taking the kids to soccer. Why don't you come down? Bring your kids, whatever. It can be simple. Sometimes it's the little things. So when you're out there, to everyone that's listening, and you have that opportunity, and somebody maybe just is looking for that rock, the littlest things can go a long way. I believe that.
That's what I say my jiu-jitsu schools are about. We're not there to teach martial arts. Martial arts is the vehicle that we all travel. It's the vehicle that we use to do this thing. But the thing that we're doing is we're making sure that no one ever has to be alone again in their life.
Wow.
That's the goal.
Now, how do you go from starting the school to where you are now?
So it already started. I bought into small jiu-jitsu schools, and we first did 2 big 10,000 square foot schools where we added big kickboxing programs. And now, how do you go? You do it with people. You create a vision, right? Like what is it where do we want to go? What is the North Star? What are we pointing at? And then from there, you make a set of core values. And then from your core values, and a core value is something that you will lose friends and money over. Right? So money cannot get in the way. Right? So, and then you systematize. You go, this is how we do our front desk. And this is how we do this. So that, I'm the owner, right? I'm the co-owner with them all. I can't be at 7 schools. It's not possible. So if we want them to work skillfully and correctly,
you need a strong team.
You need a strong team. So then how do you get a strong team? You first, you get everyone around a set of values. You get everyone around, not a set of values. First, you get everyone, this is where we're going. Do we all agree? Yes. Okay. These are the values that we live by. We will never violate these. Do we all agree?
What are the values?
Integrity, stewardship, safety, and why am I missing the last one?
Integrity, stewardship, safety.
What the fuck? I can't remember the last one. There's one more.
So do you instill these values, or do you look for them?
We start slow. Everyone starts in a low position. And then we work up. But look, our values, the reason I can't remember them is because our values are not written on the wall. This is one of the things that I think people mess up is they go, oh, here's my values, and they write them on the wall. And then they go, oh, these are my, and then they go, oh, but those are the company's values, or those are my values. The way I see it and the way we see it is that if you talk to a student that's been with us for a year, they will describe, if you came in and said, hey, what are the core values of this school? They might not say integrity, stewardship, safety, blah, 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 right? But they'll start to describe them. Does that make sense? They'll start to, oh, okay, yep. Oh, and then you'll be like, yep, safety, yep, stewardship, yep. Yeah, whatever it is. Excellence, I'm sorry, is excellence. The last one, yeah. So that's what it is. You have to live by them. You have to live by your values, not put them on the wall and say that you have them. You have to express them every day. Nobody pays attention to what a man says. Everyone pays attention to what a man does.
That's a hard one for people to grasp. It's what you do, not what you say, and that's very hard for a lot of people to kind of get their head around. And
I think what you say matters too.
Yeah,
but what
you do is more important than how you do it. I think
it depends on your positioning.
That's one that I think in a school you want like integrity, for example. You want a student so bad to have tremendous integrity. You want or a peer to have so much integrity. That's a hard one. I think integrity is something that you get one shot at learning, right? You're allowed one giant fuck up in your life that questions your integrity, right? We all kind of have that moment happen to us, but you got to learn from it quick. I think early on your integrity might be questioned or waver or whatever, but you got to have that, especially if you're going to work for someone.
I'm trying to think.
I think at some point in your life, your integrity always gets, I don't want to say questioned, but gets,
of course,
internally it goes through a challenge, and you're going to forge the person you are. That's kind of
that for sure. But
some coaches create that moment.
I'll give somebody a second chance.
Yeah, no, I'm saying you get one chance. You always get one chance. Like there's going to be guys that come to you, for example, and they say, coach, I think I'm working real hard. I think I deserve to be a black belt. Like we were talking about out there, and you're going to be like, motherfucker, please, but you're going to
come talk to me in 3 years.
Yeah, well, you're going to
come talk to me.
You're going to set that aside a little bit and try to have a conversation. And I use the belt example as a simplistic example. I could make it like, hey, coach, I have no money. And you're going to be like, well, we got to get your money in line. Commit to me, clean the bathrooms, do this, do that. You're going to give them the opportunity to succeed or to be loyal, to earn off of that, to understand that loyalty will return fruit. It will be just like with you. You got, hey, clean the gym. That commitment rewards fruit. And it's hard you don't get a lot of chances to come. Like if you're like, hey, fuck you, I'm going to let the toilet overflow. You're going to be like, motherfucker, like this has no. So integrity is a tough one, and you really only do get one shot to redeem yourself from it.
It's hard to make a second impression.
It's hard to make a second impression. You're allowed a light, and
it depends on
integrity
age.
moment.
And it depends on age. How old are you?
I always say under 25, you're allowed to make a million mistakes.
Yes.
After 25
to 30, a couple. After 30, if you're still doing it,
you're going to be doing it till you're 50.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it is,
you're going to be doing it for a while.
You're going to be doing it for a while.
And it's going to be hard to break because by then you've developed a lot of your isms.
If you're a black belt teacher and you're banging all your white belt female students, which is disingenuous in my opinion, you're going to be doing that. And it's going to cause you problems forever.
Yep. And it's a hard... Forever. That especially like when you get into the mat politics or the mat kind of bullshit, and that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
We see that in a lot of gyms. That's one where it's like, what are you doing? These are my customers. These are my clients. I can't have this. Does it happen?
Yeah, but the problem is a lot of the gym owners are doing it.
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course.
So that's
that's one of the first things I look for I've looked for in a gym when I came here was kind of a situation where I'm like, I don't want to be around some like hotshot young coach, you know what I mean? I want to be around an adult that's like, and then like when I met Casey and we talked, I realized like I'm around an adult.
Oh, this dude goes home after practice.
This dude like I can't be around like I can't be doing like garage jujitsu
No, this dude goes home after practice. He takes care of his family. He's got a set of rules and values that he lives by. He knows who he is. And I think that's the big one is, do we know who you are?
Have you ever had to weed someone out for doing that?
Come on, man. I have 7 schools, of course.
Yeah.
We have to have sensitivity trainings.
Right. Biggles said, he reminds me of one of my BJJ instructors. I'm loving this BJJ. It's the greatest thing ever. Been doing it for 11 years and still working my way up. Biggles, if you've been doing BJJ for 11 years straight, you should be a fucking coral belt at this point. What belt are you, Biggles? Have you been passed over?
Keep coming in.
Yeah. Keep coming in. But 11 years, you better have some color on there. It's hard. Jiu-jitsu, to everybody listening, it's a hard sport. And thank you, Biggles, for the super chat. Appreciate it. The jiu-jitsu is a funny thing. It's very humbling. You start out, it's a very humbling process. You're going to go through 6 or 8 months of getting your ass kicked and getting beat up and figuring it out. You know, there's not a lot of grace given to you in it. You hit the nail on the head. You have to just keep coming, and you kind of earn a little bit of that grace along the way. And somewhere around the 2-year mark, you might know what you're doing. Maybe.
I think I'm figuring it out still. But
Biggles is a blue belt. You got injured.
All right.
I started with... Wow, you started with people that are brown and black. I believe that. How much did you miss, Biggles? Send me that. You know, we talked about the belt thing out there.
Yeah.
The belt thing is interesting to me. I had a philosophy. You shot some holes in it. You had a philosophy. I like what you said. I've always said, and I've said it on this show, you're a blue belt when you can defend yourself against 80% of the gym. You're a purple belt when you can be offensive against 80% of the gym. You kind of flip the purple belt thing on its head, but your philosophy is more quicker to blue and slower to purple. Mm-hmm. And that's where you kind of sit guys. How do you deal with someone who comes to you and says, you know, Coach, I think I'm this? With your level of experience and what you've seen, it's got to be one of those mind-numbing conversations, right?
So it doesn't happen very often.
Right.
It doesn't happen very often because we set the expectations very clearly from the beginning. People know what they're getting into. People are aware. We have on our website, we explain what the average times are so that they can go and look at average times. Those average times are long so that, it's going to be 10 years to black for most people. So it's all about setting expectations. And then what is the culture of your school? So are people able to ask you in a way that, hey, Coach, I think I should be a blue belt, or hey, Coach, I think I should be a black belt. Hey, Professor, what is it that you would like to see from me in my training so that I know what I can work on? Because that now they're asking the same question, but like I said, words matter, right? So when somebody comes to me and goes, yo, asshole, give me a blue belt, I'm like, no. Right?
That's awesome.
Props
to that kid.
Nobody has. But if somebody comes to me and says, hey, what do I have to do? What would you like to see from me so that I can start working and getting closer to my blue belt? Well, now we can talk, because now I can just give them very specific things. They're not asking me for the belt. They're asking me to level up in their skills.
Now,
but I do agree with you. Faster to blue and then really, really slow to brown.
Yeah, and I think Biggles said his coach wants him to get his own style. I think style's a little too soon at purple. He's a blue still. I think style's a little too soon at purple. I think you develop style. Brown is when your style will develop.
I think purple and brown is when you start to develop your style.
Your style. I think you're not going to have a style. You're too busy learning what defense even looks like, what offense even looks like.
Yeah.
You should know offense. You should be able to rattle off 3 offensive positions where you can be offensive from. That you can success. Like, I should be able to say, hey, Casey, watch. I can sit in cross sides and do this. I can sit in guard and do this. I can take the back and do 2 things. You should at that point be able to execute 3 or 4 moves from positions. And then I think you're starting to get there.
You're starting to get a style, from my opinion, at the end of blue into purple. And then you hone your style in purple belt.
I accept that. That's acceptable.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Well,
what belt are you?
I'm not yours. So, and in full disclosure, I always say, I'm no one to take advice from. I just kind of have the microphone and I putt from the rough. So I got a microphone so I can say what I want. So no, you're and what you just said is absolutely correct, guys. To everybody out there, I do not recommend going to your coaches and saying, hey, I think I'm a fucking black belt. I think you can have that structured conversation.
There's a way.
There's a way.
Words matter.
Now, aside from running the gyms, dealing with belt issues, running a business is not easy. And having business partners, multiple business partners, is not easy. It's not something. How do you balance still being a coach and running all the businesses? I mean,
so I don't have to run the business. I have a CEO. We have a CEO. We have 2 vice presidents. We have VPs. We have.
So you're able
CFOs.
to distance yourself just enough.
You create systems. And then look, this is where people mess it up. You pay. You pay people, and you pay people well.
It's a good mindset. I mean, not everybody has it. You know that. I don't have to tell you. You know that. Some people, you know, as business owners, they choke the business. And there's people that are too free, too loose, that let the business run wild. And especially in a gym, that has the ability, as you know, to come off the rails really quick.
Well, do you have P&Ls? I mean, like if you want to, you have to run it like a business. You can't run it like a gym. Like, do you know how much money you're making and losing every month? What's the revenue? What does
toilet paper cost you?
What margins are you working at? Like what margins are you working at? Like, this is such an important thing.
What should people be paying a month for jiu-jitsu?
Where are they?
Let's say New Jersey, $150 a month. Is that the going average?
I don't know, man. We charge $200, I think. I don't even know what
Danaher,
I charge.
I think, charges $200. I think 200.
He charges $200 an hour.
I think Extreme charges $150. I don't even know what average going rates are.
We don't teach jiu-jitsu. You don't pay at my school for jiu-jitsu. You pay for the life experience.
I don't even know what jiu-jitsu costs.
Right. But you pay for the life experience. If you want to learn, like, if somebody comes to me and they say, Elliot, I ran on hard times, blah, blah, blah. I lost my job. I need to freeze my membership for 3 months. I'm like, okay, well, we're not going to freeze your membership. You're going to train for free. And then when you're back at it, you're paying. You know, but we're not suspending, right? You suspend because you don't like us or you're moving or you don't want to do it anymore. Those are the only reasons you suspend. Money is not an issue because that's one of our values, because I'm not going to lose a student because he can't pay for a couple months. But I'm also not charging for jiu-jitsu. I'm not charging for Muay Thai. The reason that you pay is that you go on the life journey with us. And this is the journey of life. And you're going to help lead me to a more skillful life. And I'm going to help lead you to a more skillful life. And we're going to do this together. So that's how you pay for that experience. You don't pay for the martial art.
What do you think of now, obviously the money in UFC is a big thing everybody likes to talk about, right? And you came up when there was not a lot of money in it.
Right.
Okay. And guys like you are really the guys who laid the building blocks to where it is now, which they say it's nowhere now. It's far further along than where you were, and it's evolving. But we have these celebrity fights. When you see them, when you watch them, what's your take on those?
I don't care so much about the celebrity fights. I haven't really watched one, and I don't plan on it. I watched Conor and Mayweather.
Because I know it's scary because I'm going to get to when you're training fighters, and they see that. And it's hard to be like, that's not the prize ultimately. Or is it?
Let's talk about the money in fighting first. If you see a second contract, which is 4 fights, right? So you are in your third year now, right? If you hit 2 years in the UFC, you should have made $500,000, in my opinion.
I agree with you. And I think there's a lot of guys who negotiate crappy deals. And I know what you're getting at. Because I mean, I've heard the stories. And I'm not going to get into from who and where, but I know a lot of guys get into bad deals. And listen, if Conor McGregor can make hundreds of millions of dollars as a fighter,
I can make 300. Right? At the level of fighter that I was at. I should have made, like I fought for 4 years. I should have had a couple of million. Because that's what the sport was bringing in. Right? There's some things that have to change. There has to be real agents that represent fighters. I would love there to be a fighter union, for example, with a contract. Look at the NFL, like with a coach, for example, right? Just a coach. If you are the coach of the Raiders here in town, okay, and you have a 5-year contract, after 3 years the team wants to fire you. They have every right to fire you, right? But they have to pay out your contract.
Well, it depends. So like I can use the Aaron Rodgers example, what Aaron Rodgers is doing right now. So Aaron Rodgers is waiting it out. Now the risk Aaron Rodgers has, for everybody listening.
But they're not going to pay him. If you don't play, they don't pay.
I'm going to give you the good and the bad and what you just, because you're right. You're not wrong. But so Aaron has 1 year left on his contract with the Green Bay Packers. He can sit out the whole year.
Yes.
Because like Ocho Cinco said and everybody said, there's no guarantee on that contract. They can cut me.
Right.
There's no guarantee. Guaranteed.
Well, that's
because some people take that whole approach of like, but you are under contract. Okay, it's not a guarantee. It's a cuttable contract.
Hold on, his is not his.
No, I'm going to get to that.
He has been paid his guaranteed.
He has guaranteed money. He has $40 million in guaranteed money.
But he's been paid that already.
They can go back to him and fight and say he reneged.
Right.
But at that point where he's at, prorated the $40 million, the 1 year.
Right.
What is that to Aaron Rodgers?
Nothing.
He could say, yeah, fine me, pay me, whatever, sue me for $10 million. What's going to be a $10 million check when he's going to sign a deal for $100?
Right.
So to him, it's like whatever. So there is that opportunity to do that. Now I think this is just my theory, Elliot. I think that guys could go to those types of like. There has to be a strong group that says, I'm not going to fight under this current contract. Okay? Is that a dangerous standoff? Absolutely.
The problem is what we talked about earlier when I first walked in. Mm-hmm. People love to watch fights. And the promotion,
no. You're 100.
The promotion doesn't need you. They'll just be like,
Yep.
all right, we'll put these two dudes. We'll make this person a star.
So you know the story behind WWE trying to get a union. And I'm going to get to the union topic. Was they went to Hogan. And Hogan didn't want to do it. Why? Because Hogan was making the most money. And Hogan didn't want to unionize. They needed him to do it. Now, I'm going to take the good and the bad with unions in sports. Not all players' unions are strong. The NHL players' unions are notoriously weak.
Terrible.
Notoriously weak. In the NFL, the owners rule everything, though the players' union has some power. But there's no question that the owners control the NFL.
The players have 60% of the revenue right now.
Yeah, well, yes and no. There's a lot woven into that in the NFL now because of the way the retirement works, and they've beefed that up. And I agree, that's one of the weaker points of the UFC. But how do you transition the UFC to a retirement type program?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's why I'm asking.
I don't know. I just would like to see the fighters get paid.
Now, I have seen what I would like to see before them getting, and I use air quotes, paid, right? I would like to see them put in something where if you have 20 fights in the UFC, you're allowed to a certain medical treatment or whatever.
20? Dude, that's almost a decade.
The number doesn't matter. Okay. Make up a number. You know better than me because you've been there. So it's like, what's the number, right? The number's a widget.
Contract number 2.
Well, yeah, whatever. You fulfill contract 2, let's say.
Right.
You're entitled to go to all the PIs across the country for ongoing care.
Forever.
Let's start there. And I think that's something that can be put in place because I know they want to put another PI out there in the U.S. I know that that'll happen. If you give people 2 or 3 options across the United States for ongoing support.
So I disagree with you first.
Sure. Go ahead. I'm not an expert on it.
Money. Give them money. And then let the man and the woman do as what they please with their money. You have to give them the opportunity, right? Like the money is where.
But isn't the money something that never ends?
What do you mean?
Like if it's $50,000 tomorrow, it's $100,000 the next day.
Yeah, of course. But the first step is money.
Right. Okay, that's fair.
Before all of this retirement and before all of this great stuff that like the NFL and the NBA has, it was money first. You paid the people first. Because then you can say, okay, here, John, here's money, and now you have the ability to do what you please, right? I mean, look, what do we all want? We all want freedom. And whatever your definition of freedom is, we all want freedom. Well, to have really good freedom, you need cash. You can't be a slave.
Yeah, and I think you're on. I think you're right. Okay, I think the money is a component. How they fix it, the mechanisms, I don't know. I don't quite have that part figured out yet.
I don't either.
But I do think that there's something there too with the length of time that you participate.
Of course.
And whether that's putting in, I mean, look, I'm not saying they got to put in 401ks.
No. But that's if you hit a certain point.
Yeah.
Pay a man for his work. Right? Pay a woman for her work.
So what should, not an early prelims, let me ask you this. What should a prelim card guy be getting if they're negotiating properly?
What do I think should get?
Yeah, what do you think they should get? 50 and 50?
50 and 50.
A prelim
So that
guy.
if you fought 3 times a year, you had the ability to make $300,000.
I'll buy that. And I'm saying, guys, everybody listen, a prelim card guy is probably 10 fights, 8 fights down the card. Okay. And that makes sense to me.
What is the 15th ranked wide receiver in the league make?
Well, they're going to make millions, right? But the minimum in the NFL.
Right. So hold on. So that's 15th ranked.
Right.
Is millions. What does the third string wide receiver make?
On a team?
Yeah. 700 grand, 600 grand?
The league minimum at least.
Right. But probably a little more. Like the backup punter makes the league minimum.
Right. Well, I mean, the NFL league minimum, I just looked it up, is $660,000.
Right.
So part of what these unions negotiate is their minimums, drug testing, time off when mini camps are, things like that. Beyond that, those aren't bad contracts. Like I said, a lot of people think athletes make unlimited money, and I want to preface this so people understand it. A 3-year, the average time span in the NFL is very short. But let's say a 3-year contract is for 6, 12, 18, 1.8 million, say $2 million with all the bells and whistles. People hear that and I want to put it in perspective. People hear that and they think that's crazy money. After you pay the agent, after you do it, and you brought something up that's important, having real agents in the business, real support. I get guys coming to me, they're like, can you help me find deals? You know what I mean? And I'm like, you're in the fucking UFC. You should have deals coming out of your ass. I think a way to fix it too is through the sponsorships. I think that's another angle to fix it.
Well, that will make it better. That's but that's an agent's job. That now becomes the athlete's job.
But I think there's a way even
market themselves.
I think there's a way even for the UFC to play that in, to give people the opportunity to have a sponsor.
Right, but you need someone to negotiate on the athlete
100%.
side. Yeah.
But I think in the walkout, there could be like, we put a Velcro patch so you can, because that's where the money is.
No, what do you mean in the walkout? Manscaped was all over the cage last week, and the fighters didn't see any of that money.
Right.
You need the fighters to go fight.
100%.
So the fighters should be getting Manscaped and Bud Light and every other thing that's on that cage. The fighters should be all getting a piece of that, not just the Venom deal.
But I think a path to fix it a little bit, if we're talking about how to fix it, I think they can come up with something on the uniform that makes sense to allow the fighter to dangle that carrot too.
I agree with you, but
I know what you're saying. I'm trying to find the counterbalance.
Right, but you need somebody to represent all of the fighters, because you can't help it when you're.
I like that.
When your agent, right, Mike, my agent represents me, just like in the NFL, right? My agent represents me. His job is to go get Elliot the maximum amount of money. You need someone over here at the top overseeing all of us that goes, okay, look, the first fight on the prelim card, Manscaped is on the cage. He's walking out and he's showing the world Manscaped, right? Or is a piece of that, because
they should still be paying me.
They should be paying him, right? They should be paying whatever amount of money is coming in from Manscaped. A portion of that should be going to the fighter.
Do you think they should have a salary?
A salary, no.
It should just be strictly on the fight.
It should be strictly on the fight.
Okay. Listen, I don't disagree with you. I think you're on to something there. It's the fixing it that I think you should. Like I said, I stand by thinking you should give a portion of the quote unquote sponsorship back to the fighters in some way, shape, or form.
Agreed.
So I think that's a quick fix that doesn't come out of the UFC's pocket, so to speak.
But they do. They say, but Venom's not the only sponsor.
No, and that's
all of them.
That's a very small piece that they all kind of share in. It's not millions. Now, at least not to any individual fighter. Now, we're trying to fix the world's problems in fighting. Is one of the solutions I thought, okay, a great solution is the way that they have to pump out content with ESPN. And I thought, in what they're doing, what I find interesting is they could elongate guys' careers. And I'm going to get to the celebrity thing again and bring that back around. But they could do some of these BJJ super fights that they're doing, like UFC versus whoever, whatever. I think that's a great way to promote guys and prolong their careers to participate in the sport they love. Like, why can't a guy retire and go do a series of super fights, up at, like, say, Red Rock or something, and get paid to do it if they want to continue their journey in the ring? I'm saying beyond thing. I thought that was a great gateway drug for them to keep making money and produce content, which they're after, at the ESPN level.
I don't know what to do with the retired fighter. It's a tough one, man.
Give me your insight. You know better than me. I don't know. What do I know? I'm just a guy.
I have all of my athletes reading A Simple Path to Wealth. Do we get out of debt? We get out of debt very quickly. We talk about money. How do we save? What other skills do you have?
I talk about that a lot with fighters on the show. Where does it go from here?
Because you got to understand, most likely you're not going to, and I don't say this, most likely no one's going to become the world champion.
Why doesn't UFC put in a mentoring program?
Because then they're liable. They have, it's the fight game, man. They don't want anything to do with that.
Right.
They need fights to happen.
But like in the NFL, they have rookie camp. Mm-hmm. I would have thought they'd put something in like that.
They don't, because then once they do that, everyone's an employee. And now they have to pay. Now the whole situation gets way different. Right now, we are all fighters are independent contractors. But once they start doing things differently, it gets weird.
I think they follow the model of the WWE, and the WWE has certain wellness programs, and I think eventually it will evolve to having those types of programs.
Are they WWE employees though? Who are the wrestlers?
No, they're contracted, and that's how they do it. But in their contract, they are for example, you're entitled to rehab for the rest of your life. So if you have an addiction, the UFC picks that up.
I think that's true. I think that should be a true statement.
Yeah. I mean, they're entitled to some rehabilitation. Now, I don't know. It's an interesting question. It's not going to end. Obviously, Dana's getting asked it in press conferences. It's not going to end. They asked him about the health care.
Is Tyron Woodley really going to make $10 million? Because that's what, that's the number we're all hearing. Is he really going to make that much money?
Fighting Jake Paul? Probably. Probably. Those kids are onto something.
Yeah, but they did it. But no one's paying to see Tyron Woodley. They're paying to see Jake Paul.
Right. Because he's developed that hate me or love me, you're going to watch me.
Well, he built something with YouTube.
Yeah, and people want to and Jake Paul can fight. He could throw a punch. I'm not saying he's a fighter. I'm saying he can stand there and throw a punch.
Hold on, what are we talking about? Can he fight? No. Can he box? Yes.
But he's got something. He's better than his brother. That's for sure.
Can he fight? No. Tyron Woodley would beat the dog shit out of him in a fight.
No, absolutely. He can box. He can throw a punch. All I said is he could throw a punch.
Yes.
He can.
I think he's going to win.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know. So I agree with what people have said. Like, Tyron Woodley throws those and he throws those kind of haymaker punches and then shoots in. He has that, that overhand club, and then he likes to shoot.
How do you win boxing matches?
Punching.
Volume.
Yeah, volume.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Is Tyron Woodley a volume puncher?
No, he's not.
Tyron Woodley has you thinking about takedowns because he's very explosive, right? Knows you're going to defend he's going to defend your takedown, most likely. Now,
he will be the biggest test he's fought.
Of course. But this, and now you have
That's not saying much.
This is Tyron Woodley who, look, he is a 5-time UFC champion. He's amazing. Hopefully UFC Hall of Famer, right? He deserves to be in the UFC Hall of Fame. But let's be clear, he doesn't want to fight anymore.
And let me throw shade for a second, too. The Ben Askren thing, I think, was fixed. I think, to an extent, was fixed. Now, I don't think there's any scenario where Jake was not going to walk out there a winner. However people want to read into that, I don't know. But that's my speculation.
Okay.
I don't think Jake Paul will run out of people that are willing to die for $10 million.
Well, you think Ben Askren? No, he made $500,000.
But that's more money than Ben was going to make walking the streets, doing anything, So, to him, everybody's got a number, right?
Right.
So it's not necessarily a question of integrity. It's like, I know Tyron Woodley probably right now is like, I want to get this paycheck. I'm getting this paper.
I don't disagree with Tyron taking it.
No, I don't either. And that's why I'm saying I don't think the celebrity. Now, I agree with Dana's stance, which he's like, I don't care about these people. Let them do whatever they want. And I explained this the other day on a stereo show. I said, I totally understand what these guys are doing. And these types of of what do they call them? Exhibitions have been going on for 100 years. Okay, Muhammad Ali did exhibitions.
Do it.
They're not going anywhere. So the people out there that are like, oh, these things are stupid. Listen, you start throwing millions of dollars around, it doesn't look so stupid anymore.
If Jake Paul comes knocking my way for 10 million,
you're going.
I'm going.
100%. I would too.
That's a big number, man.
That's
change your life money.
Mm-hmm.
You're going.
100%. Now, you don't have to buy it, but I think we're going to see more of these celebrity type things.
But dude, the Pauls are smart. They're very smart.
Mm-hmm.
They're not stupid. They're making millions.
It's amazing.
Right? They're making millions of dollars. They're not dumb.
Now, where does it go from here? You just cornered this past weekend.
Yeah. I only have a couple of fighters. And I like to work very, very, very closely with my athletes.
You like cornering?
Do I like cornering? I love going on the human experience with people.
Oh, it's amazing.
I love being the Obi-Wan Kenobi of someone's life.
It's better being a spectator.
It's not even that. I just love being really close with people.
Yeah.
Like if I'm at a stage in my life where in this martial arts world of coaching, I have my students, and I see them weekly, every week, like at the schools and at our schools where I teach every Tuesday, Thursday. I'm there all day long teaching. As far as on the one-on-one level of coaching, MMA and jiu-jitsu, I'm at a point where you have to want all of my smoke. And I have to want all of yours, the skillful and the unskillful, and the good and the bad. And we have to click. And when we click, we can do amazing things. So that's where I am. I refuse to attach my dollar to my hour. Refuse. Won't do it. So,
what fighters are you working with?
I have professional in the UFC. I have Montana De La Rosa and I have Drew Dober. In jiu-jitsu, I have some people that you probably haven't heard of, but are on their way up.
Right. Now, Drew fought this past weekend.
Yeah.
He looked good. Fight of the night, you said?
Fight of the night.
Fight of the night. Yeah. Where does it go from here for him?
We'll talk Monday.
Oh.
Today's Monday. We'll talk.
No insight.
I haven't talked to him yet. I try not to talk the day, the day after a fight, the night after a fight. It's very unskillful talk, right? Especially after you lose.
It's emotional.
It's filled with emotion. It's filled with a whole host of things. So I don't like to talk afterwards.
Yeah.
I like to. Yeah, look, we're going to talk. We all talk, but then but with the understanding that we're going to talk more later.
Mm-hmm.
When we've had some time to think and reflect and let the emotion of the situation calm down a touch. And I had Montana fight the week before, so I went back-to-back weekends. So, yeah.
Now, do you do the same in a win as you do in a loss, taking the time?
Yeah, so she got time. Yeah, so I'm a little more involved with her, I would say. I was almost all the way out when she came, and it was a weird thing.
Right.
And now here I am.
It's interesting because you start cornering, and I imagine as a coach and somebody with your lineage and legacy, having had that experience, everything else that comes with it, being a success, it's hard for you to say no to a lot of people. How do you weed out who is going to be someone you're going to work with on that level versus not? Is there questions? Is it they reach a certain level and you say, okay.
Look, I was the head coach of the Elevation Fight Team for the last 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I walked away. I walked away because it just wasn't, I was done,
Mm-hmm.
And I only wanted to do it with, look, I'll give the Montana situation. I was almost all the way done, right? I was almost really all the way done. And she and her husband came to town. I had no clue who they were. They take a one of the group classes with the pros. And afterwards, they take 2, I think. And she, her husband, Mark, who I love as well, comes to me and is like, hey, can we get a private? And I thought the private was going to be for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, sure. I was like, come up to the Boulder School. I'll see you. And he was like, okay, and he's like, it's for her. I was like, oh, great. Can you be her partner? And he was like, yeah, no problem. And we do it. It was good. It was fine. They asked me how much. I said nothing. I don't take money for private lessons. He texted me later. He's like, hey, coach, I don't know how to ask this because I want another private lesson, but I don't want to feel like I'm taking advantage. He's like, yeah, cool. It was great. I really enjoyed my time. So let's do it, and we do another private lesson. And then 2 days later, he texts me. He goes, hey, will you be your head coach? And I was like, man.
Just when I was out.
I was out. I had never even coached a female MMA fighter before.
Right.
And I wasn't even sure that I wanted to do it. It has been such an amazing experience. But because it works, like we are on a life journey together.
Mm-hmm.
I have a young jiu-jitsu athlete who she's been with me since she was like 15 or 16 years old. We are on a life journey together. We just had, I have meetings with my athletes. We just had a meeting. It was barely any jiu-jitsu talk. It was life things that were going on.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you want to be in 10 years? Where do you want to be in 3 years? Every morning they have to text me, who are they? What does it mean to be them? I think it's the most important question that any human has to know the answer to. Who are you? When you say I am, what's the next word? What are the next, because and I have 5, but what are the next words that come after I am? What does it mean to be you? And when you understand this, you're golden. I think we've all seen that clip of Khabib talking to Dana White on the stool in between rounds. And he's asking Dana for a title fight. And it's in between rounds of a fight. Mm-hmm. And Dana's like, man, you got a fight in front of you. You better pay attention. You could lose this one. And Khabib's immediate response in a fight, immediately, he goes, oh, win or lose, doesn't matter. I know who I am. Do you know who you are as a human being? And that's what I'm trying to do with people. Do you really, really, really know who you are?
It's a lot of work. It's not easy.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work,
man. It's every day.
It's a lot of work.
It's every day. You got to wake up and you got to get on it. You got to remind yourself of the things that need to be done to know exactly what it means to be Eliot Marshall. And I practice it. I practice it every day, and I have my athletes practice it, and I hopefully have my students practice it. We are not here for the martial arts journey. We are here for the life journey.
Easier said than done, my man.
I know. It's fucking work.
It's work. It's a lot of work.
That's why I go to therapy.
Yeah.
That's why I go to therapy all the time.
So you're an insanely capable human that goes home to a family.
Yep.
You're well trained. Where does it go from here for you?
Where do I go?
What's next?
Oh man, what's next?
Like, do you want to buy a plane? Do you want to fly?
Okay.
What do you want to do?
So the answer to that is, on a private plane, yes. Okay, but I only want a private plane because time is the most valuable asset that we have. Because it's the only one you can't get more of. When your time's up, your time's up. I hate wasting my time. So the airport, for example, is a complete waste of fucking time. I only want a plane so that I can drive up, get out of my car, get in the plane, fly. You can have all the amenities of coach travel in the plane. I don't care. Like I just want a big seat because I'm a big dude. So have me a big seat. I don't need any fanciness. I just don't want to waste my time. So, but yes, I want a plane.
No, you gave the right answer. See, time is the most precious commodity.
Right.
It's a commodity you can't ever buy back, and no amount of money brings it back. So I asked that question because I kind of always want to gauge people's answer and see how they respond. It's like the Ryan Leaf, Peyton Manning question, right?
Right.
You just got drafted number 1. What are you going to do next? And Ryan Leaf says, I want to go drink some beer in Vegas or something. And Peyton says, I'm going to get the playbook out, So
what do I want to do next? On my board in my wall at home, I have where do I want to be in 10 years?
Yeah, right.
And I have it listed.
Mm-hmm.
And and then in my computer in my notes, I have what am I going to have to accomplish in 5 years to get where I want to be in 10? What am I going to have to accomplish in 3 to get there, to get to the 5 year, 1 to get to the 3 year, and all the way broken down, right? So where do I want to be? Man, I want my kids love sports. They absolutely love sports, and they are actually decent at it. They think right now they want to play college sports. So man, I want to be traveling the country with them, watching them play college sports. I want my wife to be coming with me. I want 3, on 10 of those trips, I would like to do some keynote speaking. And I would like to run 3 Jocko style musters, 3 to 4 Jocko style muster events per year. I want to be teaching martial arts on Tuesdays and Thursday nights, just like I am right now. I want to be taking 4 really nice vacations a year with my wife. And that's what I want.
I think you'll do it. I think you're doing it now. I think you're living the life now.
I don't work. I don't have a job. I wake up what I want every single day because it's a mindset. It's a mentality. First of all, I follow 2 rules, 2 quotes almost. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only love can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. So I start every day by trying to find some love for myself. And when I find some love for myself, I have to ask myself who I am. And I have a process of every morning of what I go through to have some love for myself. I wake up, I meditate, I have gratitude, I thank the universe, I repeat my I ams every day. And I repeat the 4 agreements, and then I get up and I go to work. And I do my day. I do whatever it is I'm going to do that day. And then at the end of the day, and mostly what I do during the day is I like to say, I like to go through the 3 Ps. I like to have people find their passion, find their power, and then when you add passion and power, you get to find your purpose. And when you find your purpose, you go give that to the world. Just give it away for free. Don't even worry about fucking money. The money will come. If you combine passion and power, money will come. You don't have to worry about it, You guys everywhere in the country have such deep philosophies. When you're from New England, you just say, I expect nothing, I blame no one, and I do my fucking job. And that's it. Well, I expect nothing because I could have been born in Africa to an AIDS-ridden mother, right? When my dad was right? So I am very, very lucky for that not to have happened to me. I had nothing to do with that. I have been given the luck. The luck dust was sprinkled on me at a very early age.
I like that, luck dust.
And
I do. I like that.
And I'll expound on it here, I guess. And the luck dust is the luck to have been able to work incredibly hard.
And create.
Right? And create. Look, the racism that I faced, it was just enough that it didn't crush me. The anti-Semitism that I faced, it was just enough that it didn't crush me. Like, what if it was more? What if it was 10% more?
What if you were a lesser man?
What if, not even that, what if it was just more? And I had no control over the it, I had 2 parents that absolutely fucking loved me. And that's luck. I had nothing to do with that. The anxiety that I experienced in my mid-30s, what if that was 20% more intense? What would have happened? Right? So I've had all of these lucky situations come up in my life, even the things that I didn't enjoy at the time. And they have been able to let me have the mindset that everything in my life happens for me. Nothing happens to me. I am the victor of my life. I am not a victim, And so what is my job now? My job is to go out and sprinkle as much luck dust on as many other people as I can in the world. Let's go. You can do it. I firmly and wholeheartedly believe that every individual in the world has the power to do this. Now, how do we do that? I say we equalize out the opportunity for as many people in the world. The opportunity, not the fucking outcome. Okay? Everyone needs to have the opportunity to be successful.
I know what you meant.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
And now look, I'm a black Jew, right? That's how we started the podcast. Do I believe the opportunities are equal? No, I don't. But when I'm talking to you, let's say John Bartolo, you are a young black Jewish kid just like me. I would never fucking tell you that in the world. I would never say to you, it's not fair. Yes, I would tell you it is unfair.
Well, I'm short, fat, and Italian. Everything's unfair to me.
Yeah. Yes, it is unfair for people. But that doesn't matter when you're talking to the individual.
Right.
You must tell them that they have the ability to do it. You cannot tell people that, oh man, you know, there's racism, so you're fucked. There's anti-Semitism, because you're fucked. There's I hate white people, so you're fucked, right? Whatever it is. No, you're not fucked. You're only fucked if you believe you're fucked. You're only fucked if you believe you're fucked, and if you buy into the narrative that life is fair and it should be fair. Life isn't fair. There's nothing fair about this. You and I are sitting here on a Monday talking shop. There's people that are starving. There's people that haven't had water in 3 days. It's not fair. What are you going to do about it?
There's no free rides.
What's that?
There's no free rides.
There's no free rides. It's all on you, but how would you want it any other way?
Well, I look at it, I try to explain it to people like this too, because you're absolutely right. You're going to always have baggage. Everyone's going to have baggage. Everybody's going to have shit that affected them a certain way. And my baggage is no better than your baggage, and your baggage is no better than mine. If you operate in that mindset and you understand that, and you're going to get on the train, you got to leave the bags behind.
I don't even think you have to leave it behind. You have to be really, really aware of it.
Or aware, aware, of course.
Look, I'm a softie, John. I like, you know,
Yeah,
I'm a softie. I'm an emotional
They're figurative
dude.
bags, but
Yeah.
you gotta kind of understand that. So I had a great thing once in a football locker room. Coach said, you know, just so you know, before you go put your bags in, everybody here was somebody. Everybody here was a league all-star. Everybody here, like, that to me was one of those powerful things ever said to me, because it like opened my eyes. So like, whether you're walking into an ADCCs or you're walking into a medal match or you're going into the best thing, in my opinion, like coach, you turn to the coach and then he looks at you and says, just remember, everybody here everybody got a story.
Yes, and stop comparing yours to theirs.
Right. What's going to make you different is how you compartmentalize it.
Right. Stop comparing yours to theirs. Stop looking and judging yourself based on John, based on Dana, based on whoever it is that you think is in your field and doing your thing. Look, they're not playing with the same deck you are.
And it's hard to do.
It's very hard to do but it comes back to one thing. Who are you? Look, this is why I think who are you is so important, and I'll say what my I ams are. I am a father. I'm a teacher. I'm a student. Inside father gets wrapped up in husband. Okay? So I'm a father. I'm a teacher. I'm a student. I'm a husband. I am a fighter, and I am a survivor. And those things, all of those things make me enough. They make me enough in the world. Now, what I ask you, where I challenge you, and where I think that these things are so important, this idea of who is Elliot, when can they not be true? What will make it false? What event in my life, or any event, choose the craziest event, what will make it not true? When I die, am I still going to be the father to those two boys?
Yes.
When they die, will I still be their father?
Yes.
Yes. The only one that cannot be true is survivor. When I dead, I didn't survive anymore. So that's it. But I'm a teacher, right? Drew in Montana, right? Those are my students that people know right now, and I have went more, right? But I'm just using the ones people know. When you tell their journeys of their martial arts journey, when will I not be involved in it? You'll always have to, I'll always be part of it.
Right.
So they're always true. So these things in my life are always true. They're never not true. So now outside events don't get to fuck with me. I get to just go try and fail, which leads me to the second thing I said. I have the Martin Luther King quote, the darkness can't drive out darkness. The second quote is the Teddy Roosevelt man in the arena. It's not the critic who counts, the man who fails, you know? It's the doer of the deeds. I can keep entering the arena. And whatever the result is, it doesn't really matter because I know who I am. I know exactly who I am. If it's good, good for me. If you gave me $10 million, if I went and fought Jake Paul right now and I had $10 million, would it change who Elliot is? I'd have $10 million. But would any of those I ams change? No. If I fall flat on my face, will any of those I ams change? No. So therefore, it gives me space to go try. To go try and fail. Try and be successful. To go try and be somewhere in the middle. And it doesn't touch my life. It doesn't touch Elliot.
It's powerful. Very powerful. How long have we gone here? What are we at? An hour and we're at an hour and 30. We'll wrap up.
All right.
All right. Listen, let everybody know where they can find you, where you'll be next, where some of the schools are, where they can check you out and find you.
everything that you need to know about me personally is on my Instagram and my website, firemarshall205.
Go check it out.
Go check it out. That's where Instagram.
Are you responsive?
I'm always responsive. That was just where I was going. Do not hit me up on Twitter. I might not respond. Do not hit me up on Facebook Messenger. I might not respond. I will respond to every single thing I can on Instagram. The other place that you can find me is elliottmarshall.com. So all of my other stuff, so you can find that as well.
And I'll put the link.
Yeah, put the link there. If you are a martial arts school owner, we actually just started this really cool platform where we are trying to help other martial arts schools do martial arts well, because we have 7 successful, profitable schools. We have, if you want to talk numbers, we have probably about 5,000 students, over 7 million in revenue between those schools. So, and all of them profit. So we have a system. It's a Monday and I'm here, and I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. So I'm hanging out with my wife again tomorrow. But so we have a system, Easton.online, where it is not expensive, and we help you run your school. I help you. It's me. So it's not a bot or somebody in Thailand, right? It's me. You get on the phone a couple times a month with me, and we go over how to do the martial arts school. We send you homework and all of that stuff. So if you are a martial arts school owner and you need some help, hit us up, Easton.online.
The podcast.
I have the podcast and the book. They're both The Gospel of Fire. So go check out The Gospel of Fire. It's all about how it is that you find your power in the world, how other people found their power in the world. What was their process like? You got to hear my process a little bit today. So how do other people do it? I think
it's guest-based.
It's guest-based.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, oh, shit, I forgot to do today's. God damn it. Monday mornings is a motivational.
You can do it right here after if you want.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Okay. I'll have to get that out. So Monday is a motivational, and then Friday is a guest-based one. I also have a book by the same title, a little bit more about my journey, The Gospel of Fire. It's on Amazon and Audible. Go grab your copy.
Well, I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate you taking the time. I know it wasn't easy. Daryl just sent a super chat. He said, thanks for the great podcast, great channel, and appreciate you too, Daryl, and appreciate everybody who tuned in. And appreciate all the super chats. Head over to www.johnbartoloshow.com. Go check out a complete list of the sponsors there. Go check out some of the sponsors that have supported the show. Again, Galotech Rhino Metals, Blackwater Ammunition, Enforced Weapon Lights, Pulsar Thermal Imaging Technology, and of course Volquartsen, Right On Optics, Kenzie's Optics, and of course I can't forget to thank Galco Leather Holsters. Go buy a holster today. Elliot, I appreciate you. Coach, it means a lot coming in. I truly mean that, and thank you.
Thank you. I truly appreciate the time. I always think it's my privilege to
spend
an hour with anybody that will spend an hour with me.
No, thank you for coming. And hopefully you come back and use this as an excuse to come back and do the show. Maybe we'll do something with you and Casey, or we'll get a little panel together and have some fun.
We'll do a jiu-jitsu panel.
100%. I appreciate you, and thanks for taking the time.
Hell yeah. Thanks, man.